Okay, I'm about to make caramel from scratch. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take 1 cup of sugar and I'm gonna add it to my saucepan that I've already heated. I've already heated this saucepan to medium heat. So I'm gonna add the sugar to it. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna gently stir it. Every 20 seconds, I'm gonna gently stir it until the sugar starts to form clumps. The sugar's gonna start clumping up. So every 20 seconds, I'm gonna stir it. Every 20 seconds. I'm gonna stir it gently. Okay, now it takes about 5 minutes for the lumps to start forming. As you can see, they're forming. See the little lumps? See the little lumps right there? These little lumps right here? It's starting to turn into caramel now. So it took about 5 minutes to get to that point. It takes a while. Now I just want to stir it gently every 20 seconds. Now at this point I want to reduce the heat right here to about medium to low. And I want to keep stirring so I don't burn the sugars. You want to roast the sugar, you don't want to burn it. See how it's clumping up perfectly. Yep, just keep stirring it every 20 seconds. Yep, every 20 seconds. You want to stir it gently. See how it's clumping up? Like glass almost. Or like sand, I should say. Starting to roast. You want to roast the sugar. Every 20 seconds. So you're starting to melt. Yep, now the sugars are starting to roast, starting to melt. And you want to keep doing this until it completely melts. That's when it's going to become caramel. See, it's crystallizing, it's roasting. Sugars are roasting nicely, it's becoming caramel. See, this is where it starts to become caramel. See how it's browning? The sugars are roasting and browning. That's your caramel starting to form. It's starting to melt perfectly. And again, I'm stirring it gently about every 20 seconds. I'm stirring it gently. Every 20 seconds. I want to get all the, make sure there's nothing in the corners. Make sure my corners are clear. Yep. Make sure there's nothing in the corners right here. Keep everything in the middle. That's your caramel starting to form. See? Now it's starting to form the caramel. You just want to do this until it's melted. Until the sugars have been melted and roasted in the caramel. And again, it's a slow roasting process because you don't want to burn. You don't want to burn the sugars. You want to roast it. This is a slow process. See that? Look at it become perfect caramel. Look at that. That's your caramel right there. It's a very slow process. You can't do it too fast because it'll burn the sugars. You want the sugars to be brown. That iconic brown caramel, brown color. That means the sugars have not been burned. They've been roasted. And that's what you want. You want the sugars to roast slowly, not burn. See, look at that, becoming perfect coloring. That's exactly what you want, and that's the temperature you want. Low, medium, low. You want to roast them slowly. You want to keep stirring every 20 seconds. Religiously, every 20 seconds. Stir it gently. That's beautiful, becoming perfect caramel. Again, it takes a while. It's a slow process. Very slow process. And you want to do this until you don't see any more crystals of sugar, until all the sugar is completely melted. Yeah, you want to do this until the sugar is completely roasted and melted. And there's no solid matter. There's no more sugar crystals. They're all melted. See, that's your caramel. See how it's perfectly brown, perfectly roasted? That's your caramel. You're just going to keep stirring it every 20 seconds until there's no more lumps of sugar, until it's totally melted. I'm just using this to get anything off the sides of the pan. Yeah, it's all just to get it off the side of the pan and incorporate it. Now I'm about halfway there with the caramel. About halfway there. It's almost all melted. Yep, and it's almost totally melted. look at that. Perfect brown color. That's your caramel. I'm just waiting for the rest of the sugar crystals to melt. Perfect. Yep. Yep, that's your caramel. I'm almost done. I'm almost through. It's almost totally melted. And you don't want to leave, this is a tip, you don't want to leave your whisk in there because it burns the whisk. So you don't, in between you could hold the whisk over the pot like this. Don't leave it in the pan like that. But as you can see, there's your caramel. Here's your caramel right here. So now what I do want to do is remove it from the heat. Remove the caramel from the heat. Then I want to add 6 tablespoons of butter to the mixture. Add 6 tablespoons of butter to the mixture. Slowly stir that in. Look at that, that's perfect caramel. That's what you want. That's your caramel. Look at that, perfect. Then I'm gonna add half of a teaspoon of salt, or one fourth of a teaspoon of salt rather. One fourth of a teaspoon of salt. And then I'm gonna add half of a cup of heavy cream. Half of a cup of heavy cream. Half of a cup of heavy cream. Then I'll put it back on the heat. We'll reheat it. I'm just going to heat it up a little bit again because it lost a little bit of heat. So I can incorporate everything into it. Just going to heat it up so I can incorporate the rest of the ingredients. Yeah, when I added the heavy cream, the temperature got too low. So I had to reheat it. So now I'm just adding a little bit more heat. I'm heating it back up so I can incorporate everything back into it. Yep, I'm just reincorporating them and remelting that caramel so it incorporates back into it. See how it's, yep, see it's incorporating back in there perfectly. Yeah, the temperature dropped too low when I added the heavy cream. So I had to reheat it. But look at that, that's your perfect caramel right there. And you're going to start to see it bubble violently. That's how you know. Look at it. Look at that. Boom. There you go. That's your caramel. That's what you want. You want to see that bubbling. You want to see it bubble. You want to see it start bubbling. And you want to whisk it gently and make sure everything is perfectly incorporated. Yeah. All right. So I'm just heating it up. I'm just making sure everything incorporates reincorporates at this point. And you got to have a good whisk. You got to have a good quality whisk to do this. So it's a lot of heat involved in this process. But this is your caramel. Came out perfectly. I'm just making sure all of it gets incorporated into the caramel. Make sure all of it gets incorporated perfectly. See how it's bubbling? That's how you know it's correct. When you see that, when it starts bubbling violently, that's how you know that you've done it correctly. You just don't want there to be any lumps in it. You want everything incorporated. No lumps at all of caramel. You want all of it to be melted down. Okay, I'm going to be able to remove it from the heat shortly. But see how it's bubbling violently? Let me show you how it's bubbling. See, it starts bubbling like that. That's how you know you did it correctly. That's how you know, this is how you know you did it correctly. The violent bubbles. So now I can remove it from the heat because I don't want to burn the sugar. Remove it from the heat. And just keep stirring it. And make sure everything gets melted down and incorporated into your caramel. Oh, I wish you could smell that. This is fresh caramel. Fresh caramel. Yeah, the key is to make sure that this is make sure you don't cook it on too high of a temperature. You got to keep stirring it, and you got to make sure everything gets melted down into it. Stir diligently until everything gets melted down. Make sure there's no loose ends. No, there's another little chunk in it. I'm gonna put it on the heat for maybe like a minute or two. I don't want to burn it, but I'm gonna put it on the heat a little bit longer until I've eliminated all the lumps. But this is that's your caramel. This is perfect caramel though. See, look at the color. That's perfect coloring. That's your caramel. I just got one more lump in there that I want to eliminate. Going like a circle, yeah. I'm just heating it up to make sure I get everything off the side of the pan and melt it down into the caramel. See, that's your caramel. That's what you want. All right. Oh, this smells awesome. Wish you could smell this. Fresh caramel right here. Made from scratch. See the bubbles? Again, that's how you know you did it correctly. The bubbles. The violent bubbles. And you see that light brown color. Yeah, okay, now I can remove it from the heat. I don't feel any more lumps. That's your caramel. No more lumps. Everything is incorporated perfectly. And this is your caramel. This is what you want. Ideally, you want to let this cool before you serve it. You want to put this in a container and let it cool. But that's your caramel. That's what you want.